What is going on, everyone? This is Jordan with Conquer Trading and Investing, and we're getting ready here right now for our Forex forecast and analysis for the upcoming day ahead. Hey, listen, everyone, this is the first time we're doing actually a published video instead of the live stream. So I do ask that you go ahead and participate in the comment below if there's anything that you would like to add to the conversation. What's happened so far this morning as the G7 and the US Treasury Department have met. Basically, they said they continued some verbal intervention, saying they will continue to do what is ever needed in order to support the markets. More importantly, let's see what the markets are pricing in. So far this morning, as we are about 45 minutes before the U.S. equity markets open, we see that both the U.S. indices are trading slightly down after being up about a point and a half or more overnight. All right, let's get into the charts and see what we see going on. We're going to start over here with the DXY and just take a step back. I'm looking at the 8-hour right now. I haven't looked at the DXY since I don't know, for a few days now. So I'm coming in clean with you. And I noticed this trend line we had over here has broken down. And since it's broken down, this is now going to be an area of resistance to the upside. Since it's broken down, we've come into this support over here. Then I have 97.21 has held, and so far price is trying to rebound off of that. Now, I'm not going to read much more into that right now. Then so far this area of support is holding. If we step back a little bit over here, after this breakout over here of this bull flag and then trading up all the way almost towards 100 and coming off so hard and so fast, obviously a lot has changed. The technical picture of the DXY and that clean breakout has changed, but it's still being supported over here. So again, I do want you to keep in mind that this is largely weighted by the euro. We've seen the euro actually really appreciate strongly over the past week. Now, the reason for that appreciation in the euro has absolutely been because of the fall in the stock market. A lot of traders were going ahead and they were taking money out of the U.S. equity market, bringing it back to Europe, and then exchanging that for euros. If the stock market stabilizes over here now, if the stock market, and I do expect that rallies will be sold, whether or not this is the rally that will be sold, or the U.S. equities over the next couple of weeks are going to be able to go ahead and actually trade up a little bit higher. I have no idea. Obviously, we're going to monitor this from day to day. But if the U.S. equities are able to stabilize here even just a little bit, I do expect for the euro to sell off a little bit further. And if you go ahead and you pull up actually a comparison here, and then I add the euro US dollar, you could see how tightly correlated this is. Look over here, coming back. You could see as the stock market was rising so strongly, you could see that the euro is being sold so strongly as well, because basically people were using the euro as a funding currency. And then as the stock market started to drop, you saw that sharp appreciation of the euro. And then yesterday, as the stock market recovered, you see also the euro selling off a little bit. So I want you to pay attention to that correlation. I'm watching it because right now it's definitely in play. Let's check out the euro US dollar. We could see some people are asking yesterday if I have a video on support and resistance and the trend lines. They said for whatever reason, it looks like the levels that we draw in always come into play. We don't have something outside of the training course, but I will put something together for everyone and publish that to the site, so be on a lookout for that. You can see that the euro has come into this resistance over here, up here at 1.11667. It wasn't able to hold, but we've only come down now into the support and we're currently testing it. All right, so currently we're consolidating between this support and this resistance. If we do lose this support over here, if we do lose that, then we could expect a much larger correction in the euro US dollar. But until then, use and guide off of these two areas, this resistance overhead and then the support right here over here. Now, you do also have, if you look at my mouse over here, you could see over down here, the support I'm looking at, you could see that support came into there. That's light local support down over there. If price is able to trade down to 10717. It'll have some local support it needs to break through before it could actually push a little further. Let's talk about precious metals. Let's see what gold is doing. Gold is maintaining 1600. So this doesn't look so bad. And what I mean by so bad, after the breakout over here, price just went ballistic. It traded a little higher than I thought it should. I thought 1649 or between 1639 and 1649 would have been the resistance that held, and you could see price then on the way up. That's where it got held up. But during the stock market sell-off, gold traded down pretty hard, right? It took out the breakout. It held the bottom. If you extend this trend line over here, this is what provided support, and now it's consolidating. So it looks pretty good. I don't think gold is really in play at this moment with what's going on, and I think that there are other opportunities to focus in on. Bitcoin is right now consolidating between 8,500 and the resistance over here at 9,100. Technically, Bitcoin looks pretty good as long as it holds the 8,200 level, which is strong support. It looks really good. Above 8,500, even better. It does need to clear at 9,400 to have that bullish bid in it again. And if you just step back real quick, this is the pattern we're trading within right now. All right, we're dead center. 2 months to the halving. I expect 11,400 is the fair price for the halving. So you could just use this trend line here as your guide. If you want to wait for the safe trade, once we break that trend line to the upside, the bull market will be in full force and have begun. That's your safest entry. Anything right now, again, as we were trading up here, people were thinking is getting away from them when we were above 10,000, that they weren't going to have a chance. And I said the plan is to wait for pullbacks and buy off of support. Here you go. Here's the support at 8,500. Price pulled back into it, is now resuming off of it. So this looks pretty good to me. We're looking here at WTI crude, and we have, look at this. We were talking about yesterday, price retracing up into this resistance over here. That's the first area to watch. Looks like it's kind of being rejected right now. I expect it to be consolidating in this area. I did expect price to consolidate in this area, and it lost this support over here. Now it's consolidating over here. I think this is definitely also right now still in a strong downtrend, and you're just looking to sell any resistances. We're over here now into this resistance at 49.56. Let's watch how price reacts over it. OPEC is expected, and I believe will cut production further because of the lack of demand. Let's look at the US dollar, Japanese yen. I think this is an important barometer to look at for how the Japanese yen overall is doing. We could see that it was bid yesterday when there was news that the G7, along with the US Treasury, would be doing some type of coordinated action. It turned out just to be verbal intervention. There's not much going on over there, and the yen was a little bit bid because of it. So this area over here, this 109.71, if you remember, this was the level that we were watching carefully, and that's the level when it broke that we jumped in and sold yen. It wound up being one of the best trades of the year, and it happened really quick in just 24 hours. And why we were watching that level, because that was the support. Zoom in over here. This was the support over here before the breakout of this yellow trend line. Once we broke out over here, hit the resistance, came back down, it was that support once it broke that showed that this was a failed breakout. This will continue to be the line or the level that we watch going forward. I'm going to make it big. All right, this is the level that we watch. Price gets back above that. At that point, we start selling yen again. Until that happens, I think that we're going to see, the next action we're going to see is some rate cuts out of more central banks, including the Federal Reserve, probably in this meeting coming up in a couple of weeks. I think any market rallies are going to be faded. I think once the Fed starts cutting, the market is going to push for more cuts until we get close to zero, and then the market's going to push for QE. So I think that any rallies will be sold. That's our line. If that gets broken to the upside, we can start selling yen happily. But until then, look for further yen strength, but wait for pullbacks into resistance. Right now, I think we're going to consolidate, and I think we're going to come back up and test this resistance over here. or at least I will not be looking to sell the yen until that happens. So that's what I'm looking here for on yen pairs. And again, I'm not going to trade it versus the US dollar. I'm just using the US dollar Japanese yen as a barometer here. I'll be looking to take advantage of that against other currency pairs. And I'll let you know as they're developing. US dollar, Canadian dollar, I'm here on the daily, and this is a good place to be right now. You can see that the dollar is really strong versus the Canadian dollar. This is the breakout of this trend line. This is now support, obviously. I don't need to tell you that. And this looks really healthy. You could see oil is a little bit bid today, and the Canadian dollar is still very weak. I think we have a long-term trend in front of us. Bank of Canada is expected to meet soon. It'll be interesting what they do and what they say. We'll have to keep an eye on that. I think the Canadian dollar right now is one of the weakest currencies. It's the weakest currency today and continues to show weakness. I think this is a good pair to be trading against. Again, look for that strength and weakness, and Canadian dollar is the weakest right now. Ever since we've had the breakout of this trend line, been looking to sell. I did sell it all the way up here, and I took profits over here. I'm on the sidelines right now waiting, and I will alert those through the pro signals of anything else that develops. Right now, so far today, I don't see anything going on in the markets that I want to take advantage of. Let's take a look at the pound Japanese yen. This looks really bad. Technically, we've been watching the fall. Once this support over here gave way, we were looking then for a break over here. Price, you could see, is kind of is finding support in this area over here. This was the first area in the live stream that we were looking for support to come in. It's only light support. There's much stronger support down over here at 135.60, and I think right now we're just consolidating. It looks weak over here. I would only be looking to sell rallies at this point until further news develops outside of the UK. But right now, this continues to look weak. Again, I just don't see a trade on it right now. A lot of trades took place, obviously, last week. It was a fantastic week for trading. The markets were moving. It was very easy to read. Right now, your best posture is showing that patience and waiting for the setups to come to us. Things are not clear. Things are less erratic today than they were yesterday. But yesterday was very jumpy. Yesterday erratic. Very difficult trading conditions. Wait for the market to come to you. Let's take a look at the New Zealand dollar, US dollar. This is one of the currencies that has been hit the hardest. You could see over here this breakdown to new lows looks like it's failing right now. Prices coming up right towards this area of support. The New Zealand dollar has been hit so hard. I would not be surprised to see a little bit of a retracement in this. It's not something I would take counter trend at all, but I am interested in seeing how far that retrace gets, and then looking to sell any rallies into resistance. Now, at the same time, I do want to look at the Australian dollar, US dollar, because they cut rates yesterday, and you could see price appreciating off of that rate cut. We talked about that yesterday, and I said that usually traders look for currencies to depreciate after rate cuts. That's not always the case, and I was looking out for this to be appreciating on the rate cut. That's exactly what's happening over here. If you're looking for any counter trend trades today, I would be looking towards the Australian dollar versus any pair, because it's come off so hard so quick. You got the rate cut, it's appreciating out of it. You got to follow the price action, all right? And that's where price is leading today. So counter trend trades on the Australian dollar, the US dollar look like the play today. Let's look at some pairs. Let's look at the Euro Australian dollar. All right, let me look on a weekly here. I'm looking for any type of resistance, and it looks like pretty clear skies above. Did we come into some resistance? Sure, we did. There's definitely resistance right where we came into, but you know what? I'm not that type of a guy. I'm not going to really be looking to go counter trend here. Euro's been very strong lately. It's priced in accordingly over here. I think I like to play. I know I like to play strength versus weakness. So let's look at the Canadian dollar then, because the Australian dollar is looking like it could be a counter trend play today, while we have the Canadian dollar very weak. Let me look for my chart over here. 1 second. Here is the Australian dollar, Canadian dollar. All right. Let me jump down to the 8 hour over here. Yeah, I mean, clearly it looks like it's bottoming over here, but I don't see a play on it. I don't see on a plane. I think we're coming back up to test this resistance over here. Um, and I'm not gonna, outside of jumping into the trade blindly, just because I see the price momentum here today. There's no trade for me to take. I just don't see it. Let me check the 4 hour. Yeah. So either which way, I mean that's what it is. It's kind of formulating and exploring ideas and then filtering them out to take what is best. I just don't see it. What about the Australian dollar, Japanese yen? Again, similar pattern. It does look like it's hit a near-term bottom. Do I think that we're going to take out these lows? If things escalate, for sure we will. And but right now we're consolidating. I don't see a counter trend trade over here. There's not enough momentum. You could see here on the 8 hour though. You could see over here we are making some lower highs and higher lows, and that is something that you could watch for the breakout. If we break out over here and start making higher highs, look, I do think we're going to make it back towards this resistance over here. It's something to watch. The yen after the G7 put out their communication though has been a little bit bid. Things aren't just lined up so nicely and so perfectly, and I don't think it's a good idea, especially after coming off such big profits last week, just to trade for the sake of trading. I think you got to really pick your setups. What else? We already looked at the pound US dollar over here, or let me just take another look at it over here with you. The reason I want to focus in over here right now is because we've come up into this area that's really important. This was support. It is broken. It's now resistance. There's a green line over here. I don't want to confuse you. All right. You can see this was very important. Is this been very important support? It did break, and now price is trying to get back above it. That will be a failed break if it's able to do that. So keep an eye out for that as well. I I just don't love it, right? Why don't I love it? Even though it's broken down and losing the support, you could see when the pound Japanese yen lost this support, you could see that it really fell through and what. Notice how when we looked at the pound Japanese yen, when we broke that support, it waterfall down. Obviously, you're seeing much greater strength versus weakness there. Japanese yen has been strong. Why the pound was weak, but the dollar is kind of mixed. You're seeing dollar weakness against the euro. You're seeing dollar strength versus other pairs, such as the New Zealand dollar, Australian dollar, Canadian dollar, but pretty mixed versus the pound. So even though this looks like it could be a false break, or we could resume off, it's very undecided, and not only that, there's not much of a reaction either way. So this consolidation, from my perspective, it continues, and I would just stand aside and look for better opportunity. Taking a look at the Canadian dollar, Japanese yen, the reason being that yen has been so bid. This is the reaction today you're seeing after the G7 communique. We're coming back down into this area of support over here. Let me draw that in for you. It's pretty clear support. The reason I'm drawing this in as support over here, you could see these areas over here of resistance. Then over here it was support, and here a resistance again. So you could see it's a pretty important area. And then over here now you can see that we've wicked below it, but we're holding. This would be very counter trend trade over here if this holds and we resume over upwards. You could see over here I should have an area of resistance as well where my mouse is. Why? You could see this support over here. This was support resistance over here. It was support here, and then price came into it right over these last 2 days. So that's an area of resistance. But the reason I wouldn't take this trade is Bank of Canada is set to meet soon. It looks like they have the possibility of cutting rates. Canadian dollar just has a lot against it right now. So I'm watching here, kind of developing my brain, developing the setups occurring, watching them even if I don't take them. And I'm looking for this area of support to hold over here. Now, if it doesn't, and we do see some further Japanese yen strength, which we very well could, because the markets might push actually the central banks to do a little bit more than just some verbal communication. If we break down here to the downside, at that point, any retest into the broken support, and if it holds as resistance and then resumes down, then I'll be looking to get interested on this to the downside. I'm not looking to take a counter trend trade here because of the reasons we just spoke about, but I would look to take some type of resumptions downwards. If price breaks this support over here, we get a retest and then a resumption, then I would be interested in taking that to the downside. What I would like to do, if there's any pairs that anyone is interested in taking a look at today, go ahead, comment below the pair that you would like to take a look at. I will go ahead and do a 2 to 5 minute overview on that, and I will update that to TradingView, send that out to the Telegram to alert you. If you want to be a part of that Telegram to receive the alerts from TradingView, go ahead in the description below. You'll find both those links. Just let me know on the YouTube any comments of any pairs that you would like to take a better look at, and I will go ahead and take a look at them. All right, everyone. I hope you have a beautiful day, and I'll talk to you soon.